This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Welcome on to the First Alert Weather Breakdown. Several things to get to, and guess what? We don't have a lot of time to do them. First of all, I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. Thanks for tuning in to the First Alert Weather Breakdown. If you notice, right there, yes, we are starting 2 minutes early, but that's because we have a lot to get to in a short amount of time. First order of business is that Arklatex Artistry will be coming up at 11 a.m. So stay tuned. Got 2 straight podcasts for you in a row on this live stream here on KSLA.com. But we have a lengthy Met chat to get to that will essentially take up the entire course of this episode because it's packed in a lot of good information in. Essentially, just so you know what a Met chat is, it is all 4 KSLA News 12 meteorologists, myself, CJ, Austin, and Matt, all 4 of us, essentially talking about the severe weather that happened late last week. All 4 First Alert Weather days. We will talk about all 4 of them coming on up, obviously, with the tornadic threat, the severe weather threat, the flooding threat. Tons to unpack, not just in regards to local impacts as well. We also went over regional and national impacts that you might have missed, and we also gave you a few behind-the-scenes things that happened, obviously that weren't shown on camera. As well. For example, I worked outside of my hours for 3 out of the 4 days. For those of you who saw me on air doing tornado coverage at night, was called in. I needed to do the job. That's what I love doing, and keeping you guys weather aware. Sleep, what is that? Anyways, point is, we go over the entire severe weather forecast for you coming up in about a lengthy 20 to 25 minute segment here. That was pre-recorded, so obviously we'll get into that here in just a moment. Arklatex Artistry is again coming up at 11 a.m., so we have to end before then. So essentially, it's only going to be that entire recording here during this episode. 2 other things to get to. One is just a quick recap of the forecast. I can't really go into the graphics that quickly. Essentially, sunshine. That's it for the next 6 days. Temperatures are going up and down. They're going up first. Highs around the lower 80s here today. Mid-80s for your Thursday. And then they're getting into the upper 70s here just in time for Friday. So a little cool down into Friday, but we do warm back up here into the weekend. Highs get into the upper 80s for Sunday, lower 80s after the lower 80s in for Saturday. And then looks like we do have rain coming back next week. That will be a next week issue, to be fair. The earliest day at which rain can come back realistically to the Arklatex, I believe, is Tuesday. And that's still 6 to 7 days away. So, point is, enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the warm temperatures. Again, a little cool off between Thursday and Friday, but not really that much to make too much of a difference. It's going to be toasty, especially tomorrow. A little cooler into Friday, but not by that much. All right, so that's a look at the forecast. Last thing before we get into the discussion, I really want to show you this. It is the Love the Boot shirt. We here at KSLA News 12, including us here at the weather team, are helping to clean up the environment. It's an initiative by the state of Louisiana here throughout this week, and specifically here today for KSLA News 12 and anyone around Louisiana to help clean up. Just help clean up our streets, litter, It's a good recycling effort. And just helping to keep our area beautiful, keeping the state beautiful, keeping Shreveport beautiful, all that in between. Just a great initiative to go out and do that. I will be literally going out and doing that after this podcast, by the way. So, yeah, it's an initiative for us to be able to do it. Maybe you have time today to do so yourself and, just take your part in helping out to clean up, essentially. But let's get straight into the recording now. I have that set up. I have that lock and loaded. Again, enjoy the Met Chat with me. Myself, Evan Thomason. I didn't mean to put that as 3 separate people. I just had a brain fart there. The point is, it includes 4 people. Myself, Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones, Austin Evans, and Meteorologist CJ Cartledge. All 4 of us are going to be talking and recapping the severe weather. Enjoy this segment, and I'll be back after this. Welcome on to the First Alert Weather Breakdown. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason here, joined by CJ Cartledge, Austin Evans, and Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones. First and foremost, it's great to see you guys again. I think this is the first time in 3 weeks that we've done this. Schedules just haven't aligned in the past 2 weeks. CJ was off all of last week. The week before that, we had stuff going on. I don't remember.
However,
it's just great to see all your faces again. However, go ahead.
But we did see everybody in the last week. Like we've seen each other plenty of times in the last week.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
The point being, though, we haven't had this Met chat in 3 weeks, though. It's been a little while. It's been a little crazy,
Mm.
especially recently, with the first of weather days, and that's what we're essentially here to talk about here for the day today. Um, First of all, just to kind of intro it before we go about specific points. Obviously, we had first of all weather days between last Wednesday and Saturday. It's 4 straight first alert weather days. That was first of all, I just have only seen days happen one at a time, and the fact they happen 4 days in a row is just wild. But before I toss to anybody else, usually when we talk about these first alert weather days and how they relate to storms, usually it's an issue of okay, they're slow moving and they give us flash flooding, or they're fast moving and the threat is tornadoes. This time it was like a threat of both, honestly.
Everything.
Everything. It was so wild. First of all, can anybody explain to me how both of these were able to happen on each of these days?
Well, I mean, that the problem is that front just stalled. Like it just sat over I-30 for like 4 consecutive days and nothing moved. Like just the pattern was just stuck. So it's like the same areas every single day, day after day after day.
It was that stationary front being stuck there, as per the name, stationary. It allowed for a lot of rain to fall along that area. I know from a 48-hour period, I believe through the MAC system, it showed nearly 10 inches near Texarkana, and they had a considerable a flash flood warning going from Friday night into Saturday. So a lot of rain fell there. That was only for the past few days. That was when I came back. For Wednesday and Thursday, I'm not too sure about, but I was watching the live streams, and everybody else did a very good job on talking about the tornado warnings and just warning people in general. But it was definitely a weird thing to watch in terms of something that I haven't seen before in my career. I've Yeah, in terms of a system just stalling there and just bring continuous severe weather over and over and over again, it was just like it had something against our region and those areas that were affected, you know. But
Hmm.
that's severe weather for you. Anything could pretty much happen. Anything that you may not expect, it could definitely happen. And I feel sorry, and my prayers go out to those that were affected by the tornadoes, the tornadoes that did spawn and impact areas in East Texas and all over the Midwest here in the United States. So definitely a tragic thing to happen for those affected, but it was also a very interesting thing to see in terms of the severe weather that occurred.
Thursday was the weird day. Because and it was something Matt and I were discussing in the moment. It was like 55 degrees in Idabel. It was like 86 here. It was
Hmm.
a
Hmm.
really wide temperature gradient. And we were watching storms pass that front into that cool area and fall apart. And Thursday wasn't all that bad, all things considered. Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday were the three worst days. Obviously, I think Friday takes the cake.
Yeah.
Um, Friday had a similar situation, kind of, with cooler temperatures in the north, but it wasn't as cool, and it wasn't cool enough to the point where it actually affected convection. It was still obviously McCurtain County still got their fair share of tornado warnings. Um, I did the math yesterday. We broke in on Friday about 2:50, and we were on air straight through about 6:30.
Hmm.
And then the second half of the six was able to happen, and then I was relieved of for the evening by Evan, and I remember seeing a couple more tornado warnings after
Yep.
that,
Couple
kind of
more.
here and there. They were sporadic, and then Saturday it started raining and it never stopped.
Yeah.
Pretty much,
Non-stop.
and I was hearing all that and seeing all the rain that was showing up at my house,
Hmm.
amongst other places, seeing other videos of levees giving way and whatnot. Yeah, real ugly system. Real ugly
Yeah.
system that it caused us great stress and anxiety.
Stressful. And I think the weirdest part about the whole thing for me is that the strangest part about this whole system for me is the fact that it was like some parts of the architects just got absolutely clobbered and other areas did not get a drop for most of it. Because we could go into this on another chat, but it was quite frustrating of people hopping on social media and being like and bashing our team, being like, "Oh, you're wrong again. It didn't rain in my house." I'm like, listen, our viewing area is very large. Just because it didn't rain in Shreveport and Bossier, other areas got slammed day after day. So people got to understand that we forecast not just for that, just for Shreveport and Bossier. We have a huge, huge viewing area that covers East Texas, Southeast Oklahoma, Arkansas. So it's not just Shreveport, Bossier that we forecast for. It's a giant area.
Yeah, and if we had only forecast for Shreveport Bossier, we would have probably told that there still would have been a severe threat anyway, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, here's the thing. They were on the edge of pretty much everything that was between Wednesday and Friday. I remember specifically looking at Friday. There was a line, but there was a line in around Marshall that just stayed in Marshall and kept moving up north and east. It didn't move any farther east on along I-20. And that's the
hmm
thing. This happened consecutively, pretty much between Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to some degree. It hit all of East Texas, pretty much for the most part, and then all of southwestern Arkansas, and obviously Texarkana is right thick in the middle of that.
hmm
So we had to predict rain for Shreveport in all those days because they were just pretty much on the edge. I mean, I
yeah,
literally used my phrasing some mornings for the fact that, look, Shreveport, you're kind of on the edge of whether or not you get anything, whether or not you don't see a drop, or whether or not you get so many inches out of this. Actually, if the line
yeah.
just scoots farther eastward just by a little bit. Also, one behind the scenes note that Austin pointed out after I relieved him on Friday night. We went off air. Matt went ahead and was like, "Hey, you should go ahead and go do a live stream." Obviously, people are so concerned about this. And then I went to the live stream. I was able to be on the live stream about 45 minutes. Tornado warning pops up on my phone. So I run back to Matt into the studio and go, "Matt, tornado warning." And Matt fell under the freaking curse of eating while
Hmm.
That's always the
eating
curse.
right
You,
before
It
getting back
happens.
on a tornado warning.
Yep. Anytime that's the meteorology curse. Anytime you try to warm up some food or try to use the restroom for the first time in the entire day, that's when the warning is issued. Every time.
And
The
Matt's like,
worst
"Oh, for
indeed.
real? Oh." But no, we were on top of it.
Yep.
As I said, I always get eating stuff, but it's always a curse. It's always a curse. So, anyways,
hmm
um,
And
obviously
then
go ahead.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna tailor into something else. If you had something similar to talk about
Oh, I don't
with that
know. I
situation.
mean, I was going to also, unless you were going to segue into this, but just the impact that this had not only here, but like a lot of the country dealing with like catastrophic flooding. I know, like towards Austin's old stomping grounds in Kentucky, they got. I don't know how much your home area got, but I've heard like Kentucky got like 15 inches of rain. It's crazy.
Mm, my
So
Got lots
goodness.
and lots of rain. There's really bad flooding in Louisville that I've seen,
yeah,
and I've
Buffalo
read about a
Trace.
couple of other things uh that we won't get into today. But it's been a lot. As far as I haven't heard anything from my family, so as far as I'm
That's good.
aware, everyone should be good there. But ugly system that, yeah, that wasn't mentioned earlier, that spanned a lot of states.
hmm
Um, at a time where help is getting harder to come by.
Yeah.
So hopefully everyone can jump back on their feet after that,
hmm
especially with the flooding. The flooding is so ugly.
And it lasts forever.
Water is so hard
Yeah.
to fix.
Yeah. hmm
I mean, we're facing some of that in the Arklatex here with the high rivers. Also, Texarkana, I believe, has received over 9 inches of rain out of the whole thing. 9.
I believe it.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's what they said in chat yesterday.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Someone was needing some information. They haven't
hmm
sent out, at least as of yesterday, a public information statement. But I mean, obviously 9 inches over the course of 5 days. That's a lot of rain.
Mm,
Most of it falling probably Friday and Saturday. I would bet.
yeah.
Maybe Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So that's a ton of rain for. It's probably uh, over a month's worth just
Oh
in
yeah.
2 or 3 days, especially for Texarkana. And actually, and in the long run, we're going into the season where it doesn't rain a whole lot, so it might actually work to our advantage in the long run. But right now, I'm driving down Arthur A. Teague, and I'm even with the river, and
It's
that's
bad.
not usually it's not
Mm.
usually the way it looks right now. You look over and oh, that water is kind of my height. It's still a ways away. If it got to Teague, that would be a lot worse, obviously. But yeah, it's a little higher and it looks a little funny. It don't look right now.
That's for certain. Just to kind of recap other things in Texarkana, just big news out of the weekend. I-30 was shut down around Texarkana for like multiple hours, plural,
Mhm.
and it wasn't just due to an accident; it was just due to high waters. I believe some rescues had to be done out of cars over the weekend too.
Yep.
It was just wild, and I think the real problem started between Friday night into Saturday morning. And sadly, at first, I was like, well, this is a good thing. It's the weekend. People can just plan and people can be inside the whole time. But I was wrong. People are outside for the weekend, obviously traveling out and around, just trying to enjoy their Friday night. And you run into this huge problem. Um, and it just caused for quite the mess into the overnight hours. CJ, as you mentioned, it was a flash flood warning that was turned considerable and then was turned into a flash flood emergency.
Hmm.
Literally just a circle of green around the city of Texarkana. I believe there are several other counties that are recovering from areas of flash flooding as well. Not only that,
Yep.
tornadoes too. We've gotten several tornado reports in. I think NWS is still trying to get all their
They're working
data
they're
in
Yeah.
on
working on
everything
that.
there. What's that?
Yeah.
They're working on that, and just for the folks watching, you're probably going to be seeing a lot of flood warnings popping up on your weather apps and whatnot over the next few weeks. I'd say. Uh, just know that those warnings are there until further notice. It's not like a glitch or a bug or something broken.
Yeah.
There are long-standing warnings associated with high rivers. I think we've had a couple of warnings out in like Cass County and near Marshall for the past like 2 months now, and that just happens
Yeah.
sometimes with rivers and whatnot. I'm sure the Ohio River is going to be a flood stage for the next 3 weeks. I actually think the Red River's fine. I haven't looked into it too deeply, but from what I can tell, the flooding threshold for the Red River is pretty high, as
Mm.
it should be. We're in wetlands. We should be taking that into account. But I haven't heard anything major coming out of that. And actually, a lot of the marinas and stuff aren't underwater, which you would think they would be. And they might be at the end of this week once the river crests. But if you see those warnings there, they're going to be there for a while, and that's normal. Just letting everyone know that.
Yep.
I know just for a behind the scenes note, I think CJ briefly mentioned this, but CJ was on vacation for 3/4 out of this. But then he came
Mhm.
back first thing on Saturday, and you got the ball rolling. We still had one
Got right to the
tornado
work.
warning that I was there with you, but you still got the bulk of the flash flood warnings that didn't just hit Texarkana, but they hit everywhere around the Arcotech. So, I mean, how many flash flood warnings did you see pop off on that day, CJ?
It was too many to count. One of them was very similar to Texarkana, where that one had a considerable tag on it. We reported on the news yesterday. It was about the eastern Millard County and extreme western Lafayette County with a levee broke, and it
Hmm.
continued a
Oh,
flash flood warning. That's why if you were watching Channel 12 through the night and into the daytime on Monday, you kept seeing that flash flood on the TV screen, the flash flood warning. That was pretty much continuous through the overnight hours and into Monday. And I haven't checked yet, but it probably is still in effect or may not be out of effect now.
I
Is it?
think
Have
it's
you
been
seen it at all this
I
morning?
think it's been downgraded to an advisory. That's why it's been technically it's been tapered off a little bit, mainly because I think we also had one of our reporters go out there yesterday as part of KSLA News 12. Fred Gamble, he went out there yesterday, and I believe they just said it toppled over the levee. They wanted to stress to people that it did not break, but water was effectively going over the levee, which is still bad in of itself.
It
Because
didn't
anyone
break,
down,
but it was proved ineffective.
yes, exactly. That's the point. That's the point of it.
Yeah. I will say though,
Arguing semantics, it didn't work.
Saturday, I will say, like, I will trying to good light on it. I know we had a lot of flooding, but I'll be honest, Saturday ended up being a lot less active than I thought it was going to be. I thought we'd have tons more tornado warnings throughout the day, so I was very pleasantly surprised that we only had like that one. And I think what happened on Saturday is that we just had so many storms throughout the day that it just kind of like stabilized things. I wasn't, because I was very concerned about Saturday for a while, and then luckily it didn't turn out to be too bad.
Colder air was pretty much outrunning the front. The front was moving real slow, and then the cold front was actually pushing colder air ahead of the front, so that like decreased temperatures down to the 50s already. Like by the lunch hour, half of the Arclitex was already in the 50s, so most of that severe threat was little to none, and still it was in the 80s down near Natchitoches. That's why areas I think in southern Louisiana near Alexandria, they still got tornado warnings like going in towards the 10 p.m. hour. So yeah, that was that.
That's crazy.
Thankfully, all of it's over, and we have a favorable forecast ahead, obviously filled with lots of sunshine. Yes. As I've kind of mentioned in my own forecast, the sunshine is not just for us to be able to recover mentally from four first alert weather days in a row, but also for our environment to recover. It needs a breather. Certainly around the Arclitex. So, as Matt just
green everything is right now.
Yeah,
nice. It looks pretty, but.
But as mentioned, I think the next chance of major storms is coming back sometime around next week. We'll see. I don't know.
I'm thinking Easter weekend probably will get another round, as we always do.
We'll see. Yeah, it's looking, the rain signal is growing for late next week. That's what I found in the 12-day forecast as well. And let's just say some of us, as Matt mentioned, some of us have Easter plans already that have been scheduled for months in advance. So good luck to you. I will be enjoying Easter somewhere else.
Wow.
But anyways,
isn't that nice?
First alerts. What? CJ had his break off already.
Hey. Not me. That's in the past.
We're good. Y'all do great. Y'all are in good hands, trust me. Anyways, all right, let's get into our question here. Or Ask Latex question, which is essentially a trivia question that we ask our three contestants. I just know the answer, so I know the question, so I know the answer, so I can't really, be a part of it. But this was a great, just to stress about kind of the overview of this again. We Price is Right it. The answer is a number, and our contestants guess numbers, and whoever's closest to the answer gets it right. And Matt already kind of stole my thunder with this question earlier, but I'm going to ask it again, still regardless. There obviously was several amazing rain totals here from this past week, so to speak, in multiple areas outside of the Arclitex as well. Some of those impacted the better bulk of Arkansas and also Kentucky, as we aforementioned. Tons of impressive videos of flash flooding in all of those areas, so to speak. So my question to you revolves around the top rain total that was officially recorded from this event, which unfortunately was in Benton, Kentucky. How much rain did Benton, Kentucky receive specifically?
I'm going to say 18 inches.
Okay. Matt?
I'm going to say 15.74 inches.
Wow, it's really specific, Matt.
16 inches.
Yeah, Matt, go ahead, Matt. Take your flowers.
What was it? Was I exactly on?
It's 15.68.
Oh my gosh. That's super close.
I was like, I figured Matt do it, but I'm not gonna go research another question during this. So
yeah, no, it's fine.
There you go.
I think I saw it on like a national story actually this morning. So
That's still so
Where was
impressive, though.
that?
That's oh my goodness. Huh?
Where was that? Yeah.
Benton, Kentucky.
Where was that? Benton, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
Is that
ask
near
me where
like?
that is. I have no
Is that
idea.
near like? I thought it was near like
I didn't
Frankfurt.
know there was a Benton in Kentucky.
Yeah.
But if
think
it's
it's
near
near, like-
Frankfurt, that makes sense because that's where we were hearing. I was hearing some stories out of in and around Frankfurt. So
Buffalo Trace is where I visited that big distillery, and unfortunately, I saw a video there from today, and Buffalo Trace is like, it's bad. It's horribly flooded. Like everything there's destroyed. It's so bad.
well, thankfully, all the bourbon that's in those barrels, those are sealed. So
Are
it'll
they?
be all
So
right.
even for
Yeah.
we
Well,
could go into we should
I
do a
mean,
whole
I don't know
discussion.
what submerging them does to it, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
There's been distilleries out of Kentucky that sold bourbon out of barrels that were in fires. I mean,
Okay.
they find a way to sell that hooch, and if they can slap a special sticker on it,
Mm,
Blood 2025, they'll do it and raise the
yeah.
price $30.
Yeah. There you go.
Wild. I found the town of Benton, by the way. It's outside of Paducah.
Oh.
Paducah.
Okay.
Oh, that's nowhere near
It's
Frankfurt.
Yeah.
it's like it looks like
That's
a 30-minute
far
drive from
western
Paducah.
Kentucky. That might as well be Arkansas or Missouri. To be honest, that's near like Kentucky Lake territory, which is way out there. Which I've actually never been out there before.
Yeah, for those you wondering, it's just the west side of Kentucky, essentially.
Yeah.
You know that
kinda next to-
odd hook that Kentucky does that looks like it's disembodied from the state. That's the area.
Yeah, fair enough. But wild, it's almost 16 inches of rain. Okay, sure.
Like 2
Hopefully
months total, probably.
Yeah, that's like
I don't know.
it's a wild amount. Regardless, I hope we don't see that anytime here soon. I thought 9 inches was enough for Texarkana. Clearly, it was. And obviously, as I said, some areas still recovering here locally. So, wish the best for those of you who are. But again, we have favorable weather here over the next week or so, which is at least good. So, yeah. Anyways, thanks for joining us here on the First Alert Weather Breakdown. Man, this has been nice to see y'all again, or again on the Met chat, that is, so to speak. So, anyways, we'll toss it back to me at the desk. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy the sunshine. Enjoy the sunshine. Bye.
Welcome on back. Just a quick couple notes here. I mentioned this on YouTube, but sorry about the little tiny technical difficulties on there. For those of you that kind of noticed, some of our videos kind of briefly froze there for a moment or two during that recording. Don't know what happened. Don't know what happened. The connection maybe on my laptop kind of froze up just a little bit for a moment there. Other thing I did want to mention real quick before we leave this. The tornado reports continue to come on in. There's now up to 7 tornado reports. That's why we didn't specifically talk about them, is because the National Weather Service is still trying to come out with more and more reports from those days. So we'll keep you first alert, whether we're about that heading into tomorrow's episode. Tomorrow, 10:30, we'll be back. We'll be having a full weather forecast for you then. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to leave the topic as a surprise as of this point, but you can join us tomorrow at 10:30. You can expect a full weather forecast for you then. I will promise you that. I know we didn't have time today. Arclitect's Artistry is coming up next year at 11 o'clock on the stream. Thanks for watching. Again, tomorrow at 10:30. Thursday, be there, be square. Most importantly, be weather aware. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Peace out.